Hi, this is Shelley Kraft. We're coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the 14th Annual B. Riley & Company Investor Conference here in Santa Monica, California. I have with me Mr. Thad Dupper of Evolving Systems, EVOL. It's a publicly traded company. Thad, welcome to SNNLive.
And thank you for having us, Shelley.
It's good to have you. Okay, give us an overview, and then I guarantee I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure. Well, Evolving Systems, we're a software company headquartered in Denver, Colorado. And what our products do is we focus on activating cell phones and mobile devices for carriers all around the world.
That's a pretty big business, but for our investor audience, explain what that means. What does activating it mean?
Sure. Well, most people know the experience if you go into a Verizon or an AT&T store and you talk to the person behind the counter. They collect data about your subscription, and then that order gets passed to a layer of software, an activation layer like EVOL, and we go out and turn on those features that are in your order in the network. So, for example, if you go abroad, international roaming, unlimited SMS, data downloads, voicemail, all those features have to be activated within the network to provision your order, and that's what EVOL does.
Now, my question is, why doesn't the carrier do it themselves?
Well, it's a good question, and for many years now, carriers have looked to select the best-in-breed solution, and the days of build versus buy are generally beyond us. So people today, carriers, are typically buying software solutions like EVOL, Siebel from Oracle, billing systems from Amdocs. So most carriers today are buying packages.
Right. They're basically just selling phone service. That's all they, and then...
Right. Now, phone service, of course, has evolved, no pun intended, to include value-added services. So today, the phone is not just voice. It's data. It's your assistant. So anybody who travels through an airport, you can see today, people are consumed by mobile devices. And actually, it's a good point because it's much beyond the phone. So now we're talking about iPads, tablets, e-readers, and connected devices. Your electric and gas meter in your home have to be activated, and software like Evolving Systems does that activation.
Do you have any continuing revenue other than the original activation at the time of either purchase or renewal?
Well, the way we license the product is there's an initial license fee, and that includes a certain number of activations. Once that number is exhausted, that tranche, then the carrier has to re-up the license. So when they re-up the license, that's 100% gross margin, and that's how we license it. And we license it on per activation. Now, I always ask or say, how many cell phones have you had in your business career? Well, every time you get a new device, it has to be activated. Every time you change the service on the device, it has to be activated. So every subscriber represents tens, if not hundreds, of activations over their lifetime with the carrier. So
what's your background?
Well, technology, all 30 years. Amdahl and Teradata on the West Coast. Personally, I'm New York born and bred, but we're headquartered in Colorado. 100% of our revenue is done outside the U.S. So
is that right?
So I spent a lot of time traveling.
Okay, so let me.
Sure.
I want to ask you another question then. Where's the biggest growth in the world?
The emerging markets. I always use the old Willie Sutton line, why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is. Well, the reason we're in the emerging markets is because that's where the subscriber growth is. Africa, Middle East, Asia, India, Latin America. That's where most of the growth is.
Okay, let's get a website, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it's typical. EvolvingSystems.com. You can see us on YouTube. We have a variety of videos that explain the product in a little more depth than we covered today. We have a Twitter feed, LinkedIn page, but www.evolving.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thad Dupper of Evolving Systems, a publicly traded company, EVOL. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive. We're at the 14th Annual B. Riley & Company Investor Conference right here in lovely Santa Monica, California. I want to thank you, Thad, for coming on to SNNLive.
Thank you, Shelley. I had a good time.
You're quite welcome.